Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply emotional story from the Nollywood drama, Teacher's Boy. This movie is an absolute masterclass in storytelling. It gives us this profound look into family, loyalty, and the invisible scars we all kind of carry around with us. If you've ever struggled with letting go of past hurt, or, if you've ever found family in the most unexpected of places, this breakdown is going to resonate with you on a massive level. Let's just jump right in.
I want you to really sit with this for a second. What truly makes someone a parent? Is it simply a matter of shared DNA and biological bloodlines? Or is it something entirely different? Is it about those daily, gritty, often super unglamorous sacrifices of just showing up day after day? Because this question right here, this is the central, pulsing heartbeat of the story we're unpacking today. It challenges literally everything society tells us about the obligations of blood and asks us to define family by action rather than genetics.
Abandoned at school, a traumatic beginning.
To really get the weight of this, we've got to look at a traumatic event that turned a young boy's life completely upside down. So at just 10 years old, Ramad is literally abandoned at his boarding school. His mother promises she'll return, but as the holidays roll around, she just vanishes. He's left entirely alone, sick, forgotten. But then, by age 13, the school's housemaster steps in. He nurtures and essentially adopts this forgotten kid. And because of that one incredible intervention, by his early 30s, Ramad achieves massive success as a director at a major company. That transformation from an abandoned child to a thriving executive is astounding. But as we'll see, it certainly didn't happen in a vacuum.
The chosen family, a selfless teacher.
Just listen to these words. You are loved, cherished, and chosen. This is the mantra repeated by Mr. Amande, the housemaster, who eventually becomes Ramad's adoptive father. Think about the psychological impact of hearing that phrase. When a child has been fundamentally rejected by their own mother, their self-worth is just shattered, right? They believe they're a burden. But Mr. Amande brilliantly recognized that Ramad didn't just need food and a place to sleep, he needed his entire internal narrative completely rewritten. That simple, powerful phrase became the emotional anchor that literally saved the boy's mind.
And this brings us to the immense, almost jarring contrast between the two parental figures in Ramad's life. His biological mother's motives were purely transactional and selfish. She viewed her son as a burden who just didn't fit her quote-unquote aesthetics or her career goals of being an air hostess. It was entirely about her convenience. Conversely, Mr. Ande showed unconditional devotion. In fact, he even risked his own marriage. His wife actually left him initially because she couldn't accept taking in this unknown boy. Yet he stood firm. He chose Ramad when he absolutely didn't have to.
The unwanted return. A mother reappears.
Well, you know what they say, the past rarely stays buried forever. Fast forward 2 decades, and the biological mother makes this audacious reappearance in Ramad's life. Now, you might hope she came back to beg for forgiveness, realizing the gravity of her terrible mistake, right? But no, the shocking reality is her return isn't driven by genuine maternal remorse at all. She comes back because her husband has died, she's accumulated significant wealth, and she needs an heir to leave it all to. Once again, her approach to Ramad is entirely about her own needs and her own convenience. She tries to just seamlessly walk back into the life of the highly successful man she refused to raise when he was a boy.
Ramad's response? It is devastatingly powerful. He says, "I am not your son and I do not have a mother." The emotional weight of that confrontation is just staggering. Ramad definitively rejects her attempt to buy back his love. He makes it crystal clear that the title of parent was forfeited the day she left him at that school, and all her newfound wealth cannot purchase the relationship she threw away. It's just a masterful moment of setting a firm, unyielding boundary to protect his own peace. Lessons in healing moving forward.
So, yes, it's a gripping movie plot, but Ramad's journey also offers a masterclass in emotional recovery, with some deeply relatable psychological lessons we can all apply. Throughout the story, his unresolved trauma acts as this massive barrier, breeding a paralyzing fear of connection. Sure, he achieves success in business, but he actively avoids romantic relationships. He carries this fundamental terror that a hurt person who hasn't healed will inevitably hurt others. He's terrified of becoming just like his mother, terrifyingly vulnerable to opening up only to be abandoned, or worse, abandoning someone else. But the realization he finally comes to is that moving forward isn't a passive thing. It requires actively working on oneself. Healing is a conscious choice.
Finding your jollof rice, a unique metaphor.
Okay, this brings us to literally one of the most wonderfully unique and memorable metaphors you'll ever hear in a movie, and it's delivered by his adoptive father. Mr. Ande realizes Ramad is letting his mother's betrayal ruin his chances at future love, so he reminds him of a time they went to a dinner and Ramad ate a terrible plate of jollof rice that made him sick. But, as he says, just because one bad plate of jollof rice turned your stomach doesn't mean you stop eating rice forever. It's such a brilliant, culturally rich analogy. Taking a chance on love is exactly like trusting a new cook despite a past bad experience. Some rice is just cooked in better conditions, right? With better ingredients.
And that fun little metaphor perfectly sets up this profound piece of advice. Not every woman is like your mother. Don't deprive yourself of what is wonderful because of fear. This is the key. This is what finally unlocks Ramad's emotional cage. It gives him the courage to see that his past does not have to dictate his future. It empowers him to finally heal, let go of that paralyzing fear of betrayal, and, spoiler alert, by the end of the story, he actually asks a woman out on a date. He takes the leap.
We've covered a ton of emotional ground today, and I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Who in your life has chosen you? Take a moment today to truly appreciate the Mr. Andis in your world, your chosen family. And ask yourself, are you letting past heartbreak keep you from your own beautiful plate of jollof rice? Don't let the pain of the past deprive you of the wonderful things waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay open to love and keep learning.